That feeling in your gut that something big is on the horizon. It's not anxiety, it's an appointment. And that appointment is set for July 2025. This isn't a date circled on a calendar. It's a deadline drawn in the sand by your own soul. Every single step, every wrong turn, every moment of confusion in your life has been a silent preparation leading you right here to this exact moment. This message is not about creating fear. It's about confirming a truth you already feel. The quiet hum of urgency, the sense that the way you're living can't continue. That's not imagination. That's your inner guidance system screaming for your attention before this window of opportunity closes. You were never meant to operate on autopilot, to live out a script written by society, by your family, by your past. You were not built for the safety of the herd. You have been pulled from the crowd, tested by fire, and dismantled piece by piece for a singular purpose: to finally awaken. The time for that is now. This deep stirring you feel is not an external threat, it is an internal alarm. You can choose to hit snooze and drift back into the comfortable dream, but the fact remains: the old way of being is over. And within you, the shift has already begun. July 2025 is not the apocalypse. It is, however, the scheduled demolition of the person you used to be. The version of you that seeks permission, that second guesses its own wisdom, that trades its calling for comfort. That version of you is now obsolete. The world does not need another copy. It desperately needs your original blueprint, not in a few months, not when you feel ready. Now, the reason you're still engaged with this, the reason my words are resonating, is because they speak to a truth you've carried for years. That tension in your heart is not a flaw, it is a signal. This moment is the question, and your life is the answer. The era of excuses is over. The time for waiting for perfect conditions has expired. This is it. Everything you believe you lack is already stored within you, not in some book or seminar, but in your very bones. Courage, discipline, presence, awareness. These are not skills you acquire, they are aspects of your true nature you uncover. Your life has been the training ground. Every failure, every betrayal, every night you stared at the ceiling wondering, what's the point, was building the foundation. It was all so that when this moment, July 2025, arrived, you would have the strength to remember who you are and reclaim that inner territory. This world is designed to make you forget. It rewards survival, not authenticity. But you were engineered for more than just getting by. You were made to embody truth, to see with clarity, and to live with purpose. That requires courage, and this date is a demarcation point for those brave enough to claim it. You don't need a complete plan. You don't need to feel flawless. You only need to make a choice. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose presence over the noise. Choose your own strength over your old stories. You are not being called to invent a new self. You are being summoned to return to the self that has been there all along. The real you, buried under layers of fear, hidden behind the roles you play, silenced by the voice that says, "You're not ready." In July, something unlocks, not in the headlines but in your heart. A doorway becomes visible, but only those with the courage to be honest will see it. If you choose to walk through, your identity will shatter. Not because the world changes, but because you will. And when you change, your world has no choice but to follow. You are reading this now because you were supposed to. There are no accidents. Do not dismiss this as just another piece of content. It is a summons. It is your final reminder that your time is not infinite. That the comfort zone is the most dangerous place to live. That procrastination is just fear in disguise. You've been conditioned to believe you can start tomorrow, but you can't. You've been taught to wait for a leader, but you are the leader. It is your turn. It has always been your turn. This message isn't designed to frighten you. It is designed to activate the part of you that knows all of this already. You are still here, still breathing, because you were meant for this. You were given pain so you could find your power. Your ego was broken so your soul could finally speak. July 2025 is not a time for quiet observation. It is not for sitting on the sidelines. It is a command to move, to rise, to finally show the world who you truly are. Will you feel doubt? Absolutely. That is part of the process. Will fear visit you? It is guaranteed. But you act anyway. You speak your truth anyway, because that is the mark of those who are called. Not because they are perfect, but because they have abandoned the fantasy of perfection. They use what they have right now. They stand on what they know right now. Let this moment, this date, be the end of the performance. The day you stopped negotiating with your own potential. The day you let go of the version of you that was built to survive, so the one that was born to thrive can emerge. The world is not waiting for another imitation. It is waiting for you. Now, most people live their lives trapped in a reflection. They mistake the surface of the water for the entire ocean. They spend their days reacting to headlines, to opinions, to their own fleeting emotions. They pursue things that rust and decay. They build their identity on a job, a relationship, a bank account, all things that can be swept away in an instant. But that is not your path. That is why these words found their way to you. The age of illusion is collapsing. The world you perceive with your five senses is not the whole story. It's a projection of collective, unexamined beliefs and fears that were programmed into you. Reality, as you know it, has been filtered through your conditioning. What you were told is valuable, what is safe, who you are supposed to be. That is not you. That is a costume. You are not your past, you are not your title, you are not the image you present to others. These are just masks. The real world, the one that pulses beneath the noise, reveals itself only when the mind becomes still. When you stop needing to be right, when you stop running from silence, when you stop judging every experience, truth begins to seep through. You start to see how hypnotized people are, how addicted they are to distraction and external approval. The real world begins where the simulation ends. That is what July 2025 represents. A shift, not an earthquake, but an awakening, a crack in the matrix of your own mind, a choice to stop pretending. The chaos in the outer world is a mirror of this. It is not random. It is the sound of the old structures breaking apart under the pressure of a new consciousness. And in this moment you have a choice. Stay asleep in the crumbling house or wake up and walk outside. The real world isn't something you build. It is something you allow. You don't have to fight for it. You just have to stop hiding from it. Stop burying it under endless thought, under knee-jerk reactions, under a constant stream of digital noise. When you learn to slow down, to watch your own mental drama without participating in it, the curtain lifts. You've been told that happiness is a purchase, that love is a transaction, that worth is earned through achievement. These are the lies of the simulation, designed to keep you chasing shadows. The truth is simpler, quieter. It doesn't scream for your attention, it waits. It waits for you to become exhausted by the game, to grow tired of the emptiness of the chase. That exhaustion is a sacred gift. That moment is now. The world you have been living in runs on a program of scarcity, comparison, and fear. That is why so many feel a deep sense of lack. That is why no achievement is ever enough. They are trying to fill a spiritual void with material things. They seek safety in temporary structures and then panic when the storm comes. The true world is already here, but it demands something from you. It demands your full presence, your brutal honesty, your unwavering courage. It asks you to look at your own darkness without flinching, to take responsibility for your own energy, to stop blaming the world and finally start creating it. This path is not for the faint of heart. But for you, the one who was called, it is the only path left. July 2025 is not about what happens outside, it's about how you perceive. It's a change in your operating system. The moment you shift from reacting to observing, from ego to soul, that is the great turning, and it is available to you now. If you are willing to let go of the identity you've worked so hard to build. Let go of fear as your primary advisor. Let go of the story that you are broken. These are the filters that distort your vision. Remove them, and what remains is a profound silence, a deep strength, an unshakable peace. Not the kind that depends on circumstances, but the kind that is your very nature. This is not a philosophy, it is a way of being. You either see the truth and live it, or you don't. There is no middle ground. The date is a gateway. Walk through it, and your life transforms. You will move with purpose, speak with clarity, and listen with your whole being. That is how you will know you have entered the real world. And once you have tasted it, you can never go back to the artificial flavors of the old one. You will not need to escape. You will not need to chase. You will simply be. And in that being, you will remember everything. Your pain was not a punishment, it was a forge. The lessons were brutal, but they crafted you in a way that ease never could. Understand this truth: nothing in your past was a mistake. Not the betrayal that taught you discernment, not the loneliness that taught you self-reliance, not the failure that taught you humility. Every time you were brought to your knees, a deeper strength was being forged within you: clarity, resilience, wisdom. These virtues are not born from victory. They are carved out by struggle. They were formed in the silent battles no one saw, in the moments you had to choose to get up just one more time. July 2025 is not about destiny. It is about alchemy. It is a call to look back at your past and see that the pain had a purpose. Not because it was pleasant, but because it burned away everything that was not essential. It shattered your illusions. It humbled your ego. It showed you who your real allies were. It taught you to listen to the quiet whispers of your own soul. You were not being broken, you were being built. Every scar is a testament not to your weakness, but to your endurance. The fact that you survived proves that you carry a fire within you. Many are consumed by their darkness, but you walked through it. And you did not just emerge, you were refined by it. Pain gave you a new set of eyes. It trained you to see beyond the surface, to value what is real, to choose substance over performance. You no longer get triggered by the small things. You no longer chase fleeting validation. You have been quietly evolving layer by layer. July is a mirror. It asks you to stand still and see what your journey has made of you. Not to run from what broke you, but to honor the strength it gave you. There is no growth without pressure, no wisdom without wounds. What you endured taught you what no book ever could. It taught you how to wait. It taught you how to trust your own timing. It taught you how to keep going when no one was clapping, especially then. That is when your true power was born. The world teaches you to numb your pain, to distract yourself from it, to pretend it doesn't exist. But the chosen are not defined by their pain, they are defined by their response to it. It's not about being fearless. It's about acting in the presence of fear. It's about walking through hell without letting it turn your heart to stone. You have done this. You have weathered storms that would have broken others, and you are still standing. That is not luck. That is mastery. There were moments you wanted to quit. You told yourself it was too hard. You lost faith in the path. That was the shedding of the old skin. The breaking was necessary so that the illusion of control could die and your true self could be born. The part of you that was full of doubt had to be emptied to make space for the one who is certain, grounded, and wise. Now is the time to stop defining yourself by the battle. It's time to stop carrying your pain like a burden and start wielding it like a sword. Let it be the tool that sharpens your focus. Let it be the anchor that keeps you rooted in truth. July 2025 is the moment you stop asking why me and start declaring, this happened for me. Not to excuse it, but to integrate it. To stop picking at old wounds that are trying to heal. You are no longer a victim of your story. You are the author of your next chapter. Your strength was never a gift. It was earned, one difficult day at a time, in the very fire you thought would consume you. You now possess an insight that others lack. Not because they are lesser, but because they have not walked your path. You know the weight of a silent room. You have stared into the abyss. You have worn a smile as a shield while a war raged inside you. That level of experience creates compassion. It gives your words weight. It infuses your presence with power. When you speak, it lands. Not because it's loud, but because it's real. Your pain was not meaningless. But now you must decide what it becomes. Let it be transformed into wisdom. Let it inform how you serve, how you create, how you lead. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs whole ones. It needs people who have been broken and have put themselves back together. People who have known the darkness and still choose to radiate light. That is you. You are chosen because you met suffering and did not let it make you bitter. You used it as a lens. The time for reflection is over. The pain that forged you now requires you to act. Speak with the authority of your experience. Move with the certainty of your hard-won wisdom. Stop apologizing for the scars that made you who you are. On July 2025, let that be the day you turn your face to the future and walk forward, not in sorrow but in strength. You must break the chains in your own mind. They are invisible, but they are stronger than steel. They tighten every time you hesitate, every time you believe the voice of the inner critic that says you are not ready. These chains are forged from old, unquestioned thoughts. They command you to play small, to stay silent, to wait. But your waiting is over. It is time to see the truth. You were never trapped by the world. You were trapped by your own conditioning. Since you were a child, you were handed a set of rules: who to be, what to want, how to act to be considered good. You adopted these rules not from a place of weakness but of necessity. But now, it is time to dismantle them. Not gradually. Not when you feel like it. Now, because July 2025 is not a distant future. It is a razor's edge, a moment of decision where you cut through the programming and claim your own authority. The prison was always in your head. Your thoughts are not commandments. Your feelings are not facts. You have spent a lifetime letting them dictate your actions. That contract is now void. You are not your anxiety. You are not your bad habits. You are not your repetitive thoughts. You are the awareness that witnesses them. And that awareness is, and has always been, free. The mind is a creature of habit. It screams, stay safe, don't risk it, you're not prepared. But ask yourself, how long has that voice been running your life? How many opportunities have you missed listening to it? How many times have you swallowed your words when your soul wanted to speak? How many times did you choose the familiar ache of stagnation over the temporary discomfort of growth? That voice has had its turn at the wheel. It is not your guide, it is your guardrail, and it is terrified of you realizing your own power. To break these chains is to do the opposite of what your conditioned mind advises. To be still when it craves distraction. To take the first step when it screams for delay. To move forward even when it floods you with doubt. This is how the awakened live. Not by waiting for their thoughts to give them permission, but by becoming the master of their own mind. Discipline is not a punishment, it is the tool of your liberation. Without it, you are a slave to your impulses. With it, you are a sovereign. July 2025 is a choice, a crossroads. Continue to walk in circles or break the cycle. Draw a line in the sand and declare, from this day on, I am no longer governed by the noise in my head. I am guided by the stillness in my heart. This is how true transformation occurs, not later, not when it's convenient. Now, freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Freedom is not being a slave to what you feel like. It is the power to choose your response. It is the strength to override short-term gratification for long-term alignment. You already possess this power, but it is a muscle that must be trained. There is no magic pill, no secret hack. There is only commitment, presence, and repetition. Begin to notice the story your mind tells you on loop. It has a familiar ring you're behind. You're not smart enough. You're going to fail. It is a broken record of fear. None of it is true. And the moment you stop feeding it your belief, it begins to starve. The moment you see it as just noise, it loses its grip. This is what the turning point is about. It is an act of separation, a conscious uncoupling from the parts of you that were never truly you. It is about reclaiming your own energy. The real battle is not with the world. It is internal, the battle between your true self and the conditioned mind. Every day you choose discipline is a victory. Every time you interrupt a negative thought pattern, you are reclaiming territory. The chosen are not without fear. They are simply more committed to their mission than to their fear. They feel the doubt and they move. They hear the inner critic and they act. That is true freedom. In July 2025, let it be known, not to the world, but to yourself, that the chains are broken, that you no longer mistake the weather of your mind for the sky of your being. You now live from a place of clarity. You move from a place of power. You are no longer bound by the past. This is not about becoming a new you. It is about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And once you remember, you cannot forget. You will see the thoughts, but they will not pull you. You will feel the emotions, but they will not be you. You will live, finally, with purpose. A true mission starts inward, not with action, not with words, not with changing others. It begins in the quiet, in the discipline, in the moments no one sees. If you cannot govern your own mind, you are not fit to lead anything or anyone. Before you try to change the world, create order in your inner world. Before you go searching for truth, you must be willing to let go of your own lies. The outer world is a perfect mirror of your inner state. That is a universal law. If your mind is in chaos, your life will be chaotic. If your thoughts are unclear, your path will be unclear. Inner mastery is the non-negotiable first step. July 2025 is not a destination, it is a doorway, and it will not open for the distracted, the passive, or the lazy. It opens for the focused. This path is not about chasing feelings of inspiration. Inspiration is a visitor, it comes and goes. Discipline is a resident, it is built through repetition. By choosing order when the mind wants chaos. By showing up for yourself when your feelings tell you to quit. This is where real power is forged. Not in what is easy, but in what is necessary. The world has enough leaders who are themselves lost, enough teachers who are still confused, driven by the very ego and fear they claim to have transcended. That is why there is so much noise and so little wisdom. You are not meant for that path. You are here to be an example of clarity and integrity. You won't have to say a word. Your presence will be the message. But that presence is earned. It is earned in the early mornings, by confronting your own excuses, your own addictions, your own patterns of avoidance. It is earned by looking at yourself honestly and not turning away. This mission is not for applause. It is about embodying a state of being so true that others remember their own truth just by being around you. That is not a performance. That is the result of practice. It begins before the sun rises. You train for your own internal peace, because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. You are the hero you have been waiting for. Mastering this inner domain requires radical honesty. You have to stop making promises to yourself that you break by noon. You have to stop saying, tomorrow, when you know it's a lie. Every time you procrastinate, you weaken your own will. Every time you choose distraction, you give more power to the mind. Mastery is not a one-time achievement. It is a choice you make over and over again.